The minority and majority are split over the accounts made by the finance minister on the floor of parliament as the minority called for a bipartisan probe into what they describe as discrepancies in the accounts. The majority says government should rather be commended for the judicious use of the funds.
We cannot sit here and say that the Minister of Finance should be the only one accounting for the COVID amount. The Speaker, the Minister responsible for Finance is only a conduit of releasing the money. But the monies were spent at the various MDAs. The monies were spent at various MDAs. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, I call on you, Mr. Speaker, to set up an ad hoc committee so that we can bring the various heads of the MDAs, in particular, that spent the money, to account for this in detail. Mr. Speaker, I'm calling on you, Mr. Speaker, to use the powers under the Constitution, Article 101, to set up 103 of the Constitution, to set up an ad hoc committee to particularly get the various covered entities that spent the money to account for it in detail.
20, when the COVID-19 outbreak occurred, we all were very scared and did not have any clue about this pandemic. It took a responsible government to devise a very deliberate plan to protect us, Mr. Speaker. All the 275 members in this chamber are alive. We all benefited one way or the other from the reliefs that have been presented to this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the extent that our spouses were even privileged to come to the hospital or the clinic to get their jabs.
The minister concluded that all the monies we borrowed that was utilized and not sitting in any bank account ended up at about 16.4 billion. He reported in that same document that when he now adds our own money, which in this case is the money he drew down on our contingency vote or contingency fund, the total amount is 18.1 billion. Mr. Speaker, this doesn't look like 12 billion. In fact, that is 50% underreported. From the minister's own document before this House, he is unable to speak to the same numbers a year after. That is very serious. Mr. Speaker, if I take the numbers the minister is reporting for 2021, that he spent 3.9, and I add it to the figure he gave me for 2020, Mr. Speaker, I get total expenditure on COVID of 22.1 billion, the minister's own report. Mr. Speaker, the minister is not reporting to us 10 billion Ghana cedis of our own money.
Why?
In his own report. This is not my report.
The minister stated the facts. The minister did not veer away from the facts. The minister has been consistent, has been transparent, and today, nobody can say that during the lockdown, we didn't serve hot meals. Nobody can say that during the lockdown, Ghanaians did not receive nose masks. Nobody can say that Parliament of Ghana was denied what it needed to protect the 275 of us.